I'm Mr. Pratt, and I've been teaching robotics to students for over 10 years now. Today's video is for younger students, and it's about inspiring the next generation of engineers in training. We're going to be making a wiggle robot. Now, this isn't technically a robot because there are no sensors on it, but for young children, that's okay. The concept of it matters more. And while later in life they may be able to make a true drawing robot, this will be a great little drawing machine that they can muck around with. First thing you're gonna need is a direct current motor. Doesn't matter what kind of direct current motor you use. This is a really common one. You can pick it up at most electronics stores, about $1.50. You could even salvage these off of old toys. Really common ones, those ones that are kind of covered in a yellow box. You can go ahead and just pull the gears off and just get this output. You're gonna need a battery pack of some sort. I have a 2x AAA battery pack here, a 2x coin cell battery pack here, or a 4x AA battery pack here. I would suggest you get a 2x. I also suggest that you get a battery pack that's got a switch on it. That's gonna make turning your little wiggle robot on and off much easier. You're gonna need some markers of some sort. Of course, some craft supplies so you can decorate this, make it look a little more fun. And then you're also gonna need something to be able to cantilever off of your motor. Having a clothespin or a wine cork also works really well. And of course, you need some paper cups. Now, as far as attaching everything, you can use hot glue, you can use tape, anything will realistically work. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna attach my motor here, and I'm just gonna attach it nice and close up to the top here. So I can give myself a good bead of hot glue. Being careful not to get any hot glue inside the motor or this thing won't spin anymore. And we will connect it nice and close up to the top. When I'm doing this with little kids, I use a low temperature hot glue gun. I also have them count to 10 as we push and hold it on together. As long as you're using a low temp hot glue gun, children anywhere from 3 or even 4 and up are more than capable of doing this by themselves. We'll go ahead and attach the battery pack on the other side. Again, you want to give yourself a pretty generous amount of hot glue here. You want it coming out. Again, I'm going to count this. I would usually count out loud with my kid. Now it's time to wire up our direct current motor here. Typically on a battery pack, red is your positive or voltage and black is your ground. With a direct current motor, it does not matter which one you attach the positive or ground lead to, because it'll just make the motor spin one way or the other. You're not going to damage the motor, don't worry about that. With my batteries unplugged, I'm going to go ahead and cut the end of my connector off. You could use scissors for this. This is such thin copper wire, it doesn't really matter. And I'm going to strip off a pretty generous amount of this. When I say stripping, all I'm doing is taking off this little protective vinyl sheathing. If you don't have wire strippers, I've used a pair of flush cutters here. You can cut through slightly just to get through the vinyl and then pull off that little vinyl sheathing here. Now to get this, you could solder it in, but honestly, I like to just take the end of the wire here, twist it under my fingers, so I get it nice and rotated here. Let's pick up my focus. You can kind of see it's all kind of rotated and twisted together. Do the same thing on the other side. And all I'm going to do is just going to loop this through. Going to loop it through and then give it a little twist so that it stays nice and connected to my motor. We'll do the same thing on the other side. And we got a nice stable connection there. Just tuck these wires out of the way. Now it's time to get our cantilevered system here. What I'm going to do is on the inside of my clothespin here, I'm going to attach a little bit of hot glue on this inside section, just to give our motor a little bit of extra grip. And I'm just going to slide that section on to my motor, being careful not to get any hot glue stuck inside. And that is our basic cantilever. So as this spins, that should be actually rotating our robot around. Now it's time to get your markers out. I suggest you get 3 markers out. This will make it easier for your robot to be stable. 4 markers makes it a little harder for it to be stable, but 3 is a good catch-all here. So I'm going to go ahead and make myself a little tripod here. This is where you could use tape if you don't want to get hot glue all over your markers. I personally don't mind these markers, so I'm going to use a little bit of hot glue. I'm going to want to try to make sure that my legs are all kind of the same length. And you can see that on my lip, I'm kind of having to fold the lip in a little bit, because otherwise I bounce off a bit. Use my other tool as a nice little measuring stick. And then of course it's time to decorate our robot a little bit. So I'm going to add a few googly eyes here. Grab ourselves a piece of paper. Go ahead and take off our caps. And because this is unswitched, as soon as I tap this in, my motor is going to start spinning around. And we've got a nice little wiggle robot starting to draw around with our primary colors. And that's it. That's how you make yourself a little wiggle robot. Some sort of fun modifications that I would do. I would see if I could increase the cantilever more. What happens if I put more weight on one side of the clothespin versus another? What happens if I try different colors? What happens if I try more legs? What happens if I try more batteries, or even a second motor might happen here? This is a great time for your young engineer in training to think about, how could I change this design? How could I modify it to be able to improve this or make it do different things? So I hope that helps you, and best of luck with making your little wiggle robot and inspiring the next generation.